How you doing, folks? In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the kind of people that you are likely to encounter working in call centres. Now, I'm subscribed to a channel called PT Pop. I don't know if you have heard of him. If you're interested in call centre type content, then he's definitely one to check out. His channel, for the most part, focuses on various different types of call centre experiences, training, the types of people you meet, that sort of thing. And he's done a video himself of the kinds of people that you are likely to encounter in call centres. Now, I can tell you from personal experience, okay, that quite often the type of people that you meet in these places are the kind of people that are generally very low skilled. They don't often have any great job or work experience prior to joining the call centre. A lot of these call centres basically hire people off the street. They take like a big group of people, maybe 50 people. I've known this to happen. I was actually part of this process when I left uni at the time and I was trying to search for jobs in the fields that I'd qualified in, which was science. And obviously, without experience, that was really difficult. So I ended up having to go for just what I could get at the time, which was a call centre. So the recruitment agency at the time, they take in a bunch of people, so it's like 50 odd people, and they were sitting around a table, and the woman was just asking everybody the same question: what motivates you? How do you feel about targets? What would you do if a customer gets angry at you? It's just like basic stuff, like you'd have to be like an absolute moron to fail the interview. And by the time they got round to me, everybody else was all giving the same answers, yeah. But I just thought I'd spice it up a wee bit and make it a bit more professional, just so I guaranteed that I secured the job, which I did, yeah. But anyway, so we're talking about the kind of people that you encounter. So from that experience, it was basically just any Tom, Dick, or Harry, no qualifications to speak of. You don't need it to work in these places. In fact, I think if you are highly qualified, you're likely not to be taken on because you're too smart. You're not going to put up with any nonsense, and in that case, they're just going to get rid of you anyway. They want droids. They want people that are going to sit there for 8 hours a day, take whatever the customers throw at them, and it's basically just a numbers game. So for things like your sales targets and things like that, if you're in a sales position, like I say, they take people on that don't have any experience. So how are they expecting these people to sell things for them? Well, it's pretty simple, really. It costs next to nothing to train these people, and they take on so many of them that it's basically a numbers game. So they're looking for people that will hit their stats maybe a few weeks at a time or whatever, and then when they start to perform poorly, they're out the door, because usually what happens is these people don't last past their probationary period. So these places have a probationary period. Most employers have it, so it's usually 6 months or so. So in the first 6 months, if they're not happy with your performance, they can just pat you right out the door for any reason at all or no reason. So only if you get past that 6 months probation period do you start to gain some rights. But even at that, if you start to perform poorly, you get on a what's called a PIP, a performance improvement plan, and that's a prerequisite to getting fired, really. So you take on all these low skilled people. A lot of them are, like I say, are people that are struggling to make ends meet. They don't have a lot of skills. They're generally, so a lot of them are quite simple. I mean, that's just, I have to just say it how it is. A lot of them are really, really stupid, to be honest. I don't know how any other way to put it. They don't have a lot of life experience. A lot of them, they are the kind of people that if you have any level of intelligence, you will be irritated to hell sitting next to these people trying to socialise with them in breaks. I can remember one or two people anyway. I don't know if I should actually tell this story because I don't know if the guy will ever see this, but there was a guy that had a bad BO problem, and oh my god, if you were sitting next to this guy, it was absolutely horrendous. I'm not sure what if he had a medical condition or something, or if he just didn't wash frequently enough, or just didn't use deodorant or hygiene products. If you work in these places, you will come across things like that. People with extremely poor hygiene, people that don't wash, they don't shower, possibly they're taking drugs. I've known that to happen as well in quite a few of the places that I was in. A few of the places, I know that at least one of them anyway, there was people that actively used to smoke cannabis or hash on their breaks because it was the only way they could get through the shift. Because at the place I was at the time, it was like 3 days on, 3 days off. It was like 9:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. So essentially like a 12-hour shift basically. And you'd have to be there about half an hour before to get your systems logged in and all that, and make sure that you were ready to start bang on 9:30, or else you'd get your ass chewed basically. And so you people with bad hygiene, people that don't wash, people that take drugs, people that aren't very intelligent, you can't really have a proper conversation with them. I'll tell you a story about this other guy as well. Another guy that had extremely this was actually worse than the guy that had the BO problem, but that this guy actually had this guy had really bad BO. He was absolutely stinking, right? He'd come in and his shirt was all messy and his hair was a mess. It was greasy as hell, and it was like, ugh, you were like trying not to vomit sitting next to him, and he would be farting all the time, and he'd be like pure laughing about it, going, did you hear that? Oh, it's fucking stinking, isn't it? And all that. And this guy was just vile, man. Absolutely disgusting. And if you were unfortunate enough to sit next to that, then it made for a pretty horrendous shift. So people like that, drugs, poor hygiene, not very intelligent, and people with generally pretty poor ambition. So they would just sit there and they would just take calls, and a lot of them you would find just didn't last very long at all. A lot of that, like especially like in actually in training. So in the training class, you'd have maybe 20, 25 people, and again, by the end of the 2 week training, it's always 2 weeks for some reason, always 2 weeks. And the first week is always you're playing like stupid games like two truths and a lie or some nonsense like that. And then they give you like these worksheets or these books that are like that thick, and you've got to learn all this information. And the trainer will just talk nonsense and all that. And it's really stuff that's not applicable to what you're actually doing in the floor. It does not prepare you for the role. But anyway, I digress. Right, so a lot of the people that come into the training class by the end of that 2 week training, you would be lucky if there was maybe a third of the class left that actually went into the. You had another bit of training when you actually went out in the call centre for, they called it grad bay here, but a lot of it could be known as like the swimming pool and all that, or some stupid name like that, where it's like you're supervised a bit more for your first week or so on the floor when you're taking calls and stuff. So basically, working in a call centre is you're strapped with one of these, right? And it's not even one of these. This, if you have got any knowledge, this is actually a pilot's headset because I actually have a PPL, believe it or not. I haven't flown for a few years. For life, basically, life, family comes first. The cost of living. I've got other priorities at the moment, but I do hope to pick it up in the future. But anyway, right. So you get like one of these, right? But it's not one of these. It's like a wee earbud thing, and it's got a wee metal tube, wee flimsy thing with a wee tiny microphone, and you don't even get your own headset a lot of the times. It's basically you go into the call centre and you pick one up that's already there, and that's obviously hygiene issues for people that have had that against their ear for however many people are using that. So make sure you bring some hygiene wipes with you to give that a wipe before you put it on your head, yeah? So you're sitting for 8 hours a day or whatever long it is, you're taking, it's the same rubbish, call after call after call. You've got your 7 minute talk time target. You've got to solve all your customers' problems in that time frame, or else you get written up and all that, and you ended up when disciplinaries if you pass your probation, and then you eventually get sacked. And same stuff over and over and over again. You get customers calling you names, shouting at you, all sorts of abuse. You get managers breathing down your neck. You're not taking calls fast enough. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. You want to go to the toilet? You have a 7 minute limit on personal time. That's pee pee and poo poo time. I did cover this in one of the other videos I've done years ago in the call centres, but basically, if you want to go to the toilet, right, in an 8 hour shift or a 12-hour shift if you're doing one of them, so by the time you log off your PC, you log out your system, you walk to the toilet, it's maybe at the other end of the building, a 2 minute walk away. Let's say you do need to do a poo, right? So you've done that, you clean yourself, you wash your hands, you dry your hands, then you've got another 2 minute walk back. Now you tell me out of 7 minutes in either an 8 or a 12-hour shift, whatever you're doing, how many times do you think you can go to the toilet? And don't give me the nonsense about, oh, well, you could go up your breaks and your lunch and all that. What happens if you don't need to go to the toilet on your break or your lunch, right? So you go to your break, you've eaten something or you have a drink at your lunch, right? And then it doesn't actually take effect in your bladder till maybe an hour later, but you're back on the floor by that point. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to, like, so you've gone past your 7 minutes because you went maybe twice. You've gone past your 7 minutes, and then you start getting hauled in front of managers and all that sort of nonsense. It is absolutely diabolical working in one of these places. It's mental torture as well. These places are generally for people with next to no ambition, simple people that can just sit there. They don't think of the future. They're just happy just sitting there taking home a paycheck at the end of the month. Because let us say, a lot of these people don't last anyway, because it's that much of a numbers game in one of these places. They're such low skilled people. It's and that's another reason, like, oh, if you want to go for another job and you've worked in a call centre, you'll probably find that the only other jobs you get offered is other call centres, or you get flat out rejected from any other industry that's not call centre because you pigeonholed yourself. You might think, oh, negotiation skills and customer service skills and all that. Well, some people, yeah, some of the ones that are actually good at what they do, but even at that, because the barrier to entry into a call centre is so small, and the people that work there are generally the riffraff and dregs of society, you've very little, next to no chance of getting any other job in a corporate setting outside of a call centre. So it pretty much is a dead end. So just to finish off, folks, I would recommend you only ever take a call centre job if you are absolutely struggling. You're going to be out in the street, you can't afford to pay your bills, it's the only thing you can maybe get, then obviously take it, right? But otherwise, please don't work in a call centre, guys. Just don't do it, right? Um, what was I going to say? The other thing is, if you are in a call centre and you find yourself there for whatever reason, start, if you can, to take any learning courses online outside of the call centre position. Try and build up skills that you can put on your CV, because that will definitely help if you are trying to break free of that industry and trying to get a job outside of the call centre. Otherwise, you're going to find that you really struggle. Anyway, thanks for listening, folks. I hope you've enjoyed that one. Cheers.